Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's California EDD Unemployment Q&A live. A little bit more frazzled today because I was just at work, and here I am now. I did also have to move the live. I had it scheduled. I was like, "Ooh, I'm planning in advance," and then I don't know if it's like with YouTube where if you start a live on one computer, you're not able to move to a different computer to do the live. I feel like maybe that's it because I know other times I've tried to start it from my cell phone, like get the thumbnail and the details all worked out and then move over to do the live on my actual laptop. And it doesn't seem to work. So maybe that's something I can't do. Hi, Mel. Um, Before I popped over to the new live, I had a question in the chat on the old live, and that reminds me, let me fix this to live chat, not just top chat, so that hopefully I don't miss any questions. And that question was a very important one, which is, have people heard whether their PUA, proof of employment, proof of self-employment, proof of work, have those documents been accepted? And no, we haven't heard. Many people, including Jenny Silver, have not heard yet if those documents have been accepted or not. When people are calling in to the EDD, they're telling people that they can see that the documents have been accepted and that they don't know why you guys haven't received your letters yet, putting it in writing. Yep, Mel, you popped into the right one. No news is good news. Mel's friend didn't hear for a long time and then finally did hear that their documents were accepted. So, yeah, we're going to operate on the no news is good news assumption. But with that said, the most recent EDD news release did say that they were going to send it in writing. So I don't always trust the reps. My lighting's weird tonight, too. I don't think I've ever had the neon sign on during a nighttime live. So maybe the neon sign doesn't work for a nighttime live. Anyway, when is the deadline to submit? It's a little bit different for everyone. So you need to reference your specific link or your specific instructions on when your deadline to upload the PUA proof of employment, proof of work, or proof of self-employment is. For most people, it's sometime in February. So it is coming up for a lot of people. All right, Veronica, you have a really good question about, I'm just going to call it sick pay because YouTube still, they're a little bit iffy on the C word. So go ahead and ask. Let me start talking about it while you type your question. And exclusion pay. I actually just got, sorry, these are the new glasses, and I don't read well close up with the new glasses. I have subscribed to all sorts of things that have been very helpful. From attorneys and HR experts so that I can try and stay on top of this more for you guys, but also for like my employees where I work. And it says, I've got the ultimate guide to investing in gold. I don't invest in gold, guys, although I am wearing gold. And should any of you think that I have my life together, this is a silk shirt. I ate an apple, got apple remnants on the shirt, had to flip it backwards in the middle of my shift today. So if you want to know if I'm wearing a backwards shirt today, still, the answer is yes. Okay, so hopefully that makes you feel better about however your day is going. I'm trying to find out this email. Okay, this is from Cindy at Hackler Flynn Law. Okay, this is from an attorney's office from a law firm here in California. And it says, we've been getting a lot of questions lately on exclusion pay. So I thought I'd send you a quick email about it. I don't know when I subscribed to Miss Hackler Flynn's law firm, but thanks to her for this information. They're located in Pasadena. Cal OSHA has amended its sickness provision emergency temporary standards. It's ETS. So that's Cal OSHA again, which were extended earlier this month. So they've amended it. This means if you have an exposure to the illness in the workplace and you have to exclude people from the workplace, from the work site as a result, you will likely need to maintain the regular rate of pay for all of those that you've excluded if they cannot do remote work. The exclusion pay period eligibility for employees will continue to stay in effect until April 14th of 2022. If you have any further questions regarding this, please feel free to reach out. Um, and you guys, it's funny because sometimes these attorneys and law firms are kind of more for the employers. Sometimes they're more for employee advocacy. And I honestly have subscribed to so much. I'm not entirely sure which side this attorney is, but you can look up, you can contact Cindy at hacklerflynnlaw.com. That's, maybe I'll just put it here in the chat. If you have questions about exclusion pay. Now, let's talk about a few more things with exclusion pay. Number one, it does apply to small businesses. It does not apply to healthcare workers. They're covered under something called it's like a clause 5199, I believe it is. And basically, it's like if you're a nurse, unfortunately, it's an occupational hazard. Kind of like if it has to do with particles in the air, basically. If so, I think firemen also go under the 5199 rule, because there's just like, there's bad stuff getting kicked up into the air, but that's a regular part of their job. That's like, it's not something. Usually these things are for when something out of the ordinary is happening in your workplace. So that's like just a real loose, unofficial way to try and explain why it doesn't apply to healthcare workers. By the way, if there's any healthcare workers, thank you so much, like, for everything that you're doing right now. I know you guys are having a tough time. You've worked throughout this entire situation, and I truly appreciate everything you're doing. And I know that many healthcare workers also can, in some instances, be allowed to go to work even if they're positive. So that's crazy to me. But exclusion pay is not for healthcare workers. It is for small businesses. It's all businesses except really for those excluded by that 5199 clause. And what else did I want to say about it? So your employer should not be having you use any of your regular sick pay, any of your paid time off. It didn't specifically mention teachers. I get asked a lot if exclusion pay is for teachers and government employees. From everything I can tell, it can, because OSHA also kind of regulates things for those industries as well. So I check with this attorney whose name I'm still typing. I get like passionate about this. I want employers to make money, right? I want businesses to stay in business. I think that's good for California. I think that's good for the economy. I don't want businesses not to be able to afford to pay their people, but I want to make sure that you guys are getting everything that you deserve and are covered as well. And it's tricky, but like it's right here in black and white. And I'm still typing her name. So let me do that. You guys go ahead and like the video while I finish typing this, please, and thank you. Okay. And I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I can multitask. FLYNN law.com. Okay, I finally made that into chat. So if you guys want to ask more questions to an actual attorney about exclusion pay, I just dropped the law firm of this in there. And yeah, it's in effect until April 14th of 2022. And Gavin Newsom is actually introducing legislation to bring back the other supplemental sick pay. So there may be more options for sick pay coming around the corner. All right, now back to your questions. Guys, don't forget to look at your 1099. Don't forget that you do need to include your unemployment income when you're doing your taxes. And I do recommend doing your taxes, even if unemployment's all you received, just in case there's any other kinds of stimulus or anything later this year. that would require you file your taxes. My mom was like, Jenny always plays with your hair. And since you went to her hair, you guys would like it if Jenny played with my hair. But anyway, she's like, and now you play with your hair, but it's because it's real frizzy. And so then when I see that on camera, I try and fix it. Anyway, Michael wants to know, when are Jenny and I going to stream together again? We don't have any concrete plans to do it. You know, hopefully she's making a video. I think she said she'd share her footage with me. I would like to make a video titled something like Jenny Silver Gets Me Laser Focused or something like that. Something maybe that brings her small business title in to the topic, because that's kind of where her content is going. And I definitely think that it was money well spent. I think I got the better end of the deal there. She worked very hard, and I'm not sure the time that she put into it paid off. So thank you again, Jenny. I really appreciate everything that you did for me, and was really glad to work with you. If you guys want it, and probably no time soon, but maybe 6 months, maybe a year, who knows? But I don't think this is the end of Jenny's and my business relationship. I'm sure we're still going to message each other. I think it's in the services that she provides that there will be a follow-up to basically make sure I'm still following my business plan in about 6 months from now. So maybe we'll do that as a live. Hi, Josie. Hi, Maribel. No news is good news on those PUA documents. I agree. We did Selena's, and the deadline's a little bit different for everyone, but mostly it's in February, so it's right around the corner. Veronica, I started babbling about the sick pay while you were typing your question. Apex Predator says, just sending a business plan, is that enough? That is on the list of approved documents, but the EDD has recently revised a little bit what they're going to accept. So let me see if I can find that relatively quickly. And if I can, I will read that to you. They basically got a little bit more strict, and they got real specific with what they wanted. So let's see here. Sorry, I have it linked in yesterday's video, and it's linked in the description down below today as well. It's like, follow the link that says like full list of acceptable documents, blah, 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 blah. Self-employment documents. Was it business plan? That would be for self-employed. Business licenses. So business receipts or business plan is no longer on the self-employed portion, but documentation that you planned to begin employment. No, that you planned to begin self-employment says written business plans. That is still on the list of acceptable documents. Let's go into what it will. So business licenses is first, then state or federal employment identification numbers, written business plans. And it actually doesn't say, hold on, let me look again. Important. The documents must be clear and readable, which is something that I said, please don't send in something handwritten. So even if your original business plan was handwritten, please go ahead and type that up. They're supposed to be complete and unchanged. Don't remove or cover up information needed to verify your employment or self-employment. Show your name. Submit pages that clearly show the documents belong to you. Include signatures if applicable. Submit fully executed versions of contracts or agreements that show signatures from all parties. Show a date within your required time period, and the time period for which you must provide documentation is on the notice that you received in the mail. So yeah, so you want to, it does still say that a business plan would be acceptable as proof that you were beginning the process of becoming self-employed, but just make sure that it's pretty detailed. Let me see here. Yeah. So send that in. And with the business plan, even though that is still on the list of acceptable documents, something else that I would recommend doing, especially if you're taking a handwritten business plan and kind of transcribing it into a typewritten business plan, I would also include a paragraph on there that just says, "Hi, this is Apex Predator. I am submitting my business plan on page 2 of this attachment. As you can see in the attached business plan, the date that I plan to start my business was," and then you'll insert a date from the range they're asking for. This should be enough proof to validate my PUA unemployment claim. Thank you very much, Apex Predator. I would include like a short paragraph about what you're sending them and why, so that they're just not like, "Oh, cool, I got Apex Predator's business plan. I don't know why I have this." Like, I would specifically say, "I'm sending this to you. I'm uploading this as proof that I was eligible for a PUA unemployment claim, and I'm including my business plan on page 2." So I would explain what you're sending, but in a short, concise manner. Okay. All right. Maria says, "Do you know what documents were accepted as proof of employment for someone who is going to start a business?" So we kind of just went through that. Definitely a business plan. I will go ahead and read the rest of that list since it should be open. So if you were planning on starting a business, um, business licenses, state or federal employer identification numbers, written business plans, or a lease agreement. These should show the landlord-tenant relationship, describe the premises leased, specify the time, amount, and manner of rental payment. So basically, your strongest document there is going to be the written business plan. Okay, let's see here. Uh-oh. Ba, 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 ba. All right. Let's see other documentation. Documentation or signed affidavits verifying your attachment to organizations such as the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, or educational or religious organizations. So yeah. Okay, let me see what else we have here. Mel says, "I have a friend that was asked to submit proof from dates of 1/1/19 to 3/8 of 20. Friend wasn't getting anything for 2019. What should they submit?" Like, they weren't getting benefits or they just weren't employed yet in 2019. So what they're going to want to submit, if they weren't working at all in 2019, they're going to need to submit something from those first 3 months of 2020. Okay. And then Rosa said, "What about taxes on the extra 300 a week? I thought that it was tax free. I had taxes taken out of the regular unemployment. When I said take taxes out, why didn't they take it out of the extra 300?" So they weren't able to. I don't know if that's a computer issue on the side of the EDD. I mean, it was definitely some sort of issue with the EDD. Basically, the way the computer programming is set up, it only knew how to take the money out of your base weekly benefit amount, but we do still owe federal taxes on that extra $300 weekly boost. But a lot of people are filing their taxes, and because there's a standard deduction, a lot of people are still getting tax refunds. So try not to be too scared of filing your taxes. Get it done, see what it says. Hopefully you won't owe. Hopefully you'll still get a refund. If you do owe, hopefully it's a very small amount. And if it's not, definitely go ahead and pursue a payment plan with the IRS. Guys, there's 42 of you in here and there's only 16 likes of this video, so I would appreciate it if you gave the video a quick like, please. Yeah, thank you. Mel's reminding everybody to like the video. That was good timing. Hi, Andrew. You want to stop in and say hi? You did your taxes today and that turned out pretty good. Then you went to go for a sunset run. How was my day? A sunset run sounds lovely. I don't even like running, but that sounds lovely. I wish I liked running. I feel like my knees aren't good enough for running because I've gotten really heavy. And I have started to lose that weight, but not like, and I've never loved running. I loved hot yoga and I love swimming and surfing and like anything in the water I love, which is why I'm like, ooh, sunset run. Like in my mind, this happened near water. I have never loved running. I hear that most people do not start off loving running. That's like a very small percentage, but that like once people really get going with running, that they like it. So one day when I don't feel like the impact of my weight on my knees would be as bad, I would love to see if I could run and enjoy it. I don't know. Anyway, and then my day at work was good. We were a little bit slow. We reopened the bar that is in my theater today. We've got the GameStop movie, which I think is interesting. I'm hoping that we get busy again soon. Rosa says the IRS says the extra $300 is taxable, and now I owe them. It is taxable. It is taxable by the federal government. Hopefully, you don't end up owing too much. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, where am I? Mel says some of your coworkers did remote work while they had the illness. Yeah, sorry. That's something that I should have said about that the exclusion pay as well. Lucky you if your employer is able to allow you to work from home, then they would not owe you exclusion pay. And also if you're somebody who you don't necessarily work from home, but you're able to choose like an outside location. Like if you can go to a coffee shop and work, and you potentially contracted it there, then they also wouldn't have to pay you exclusion pay. So yeah, that's correct as well. That's too bad. Veronica says she's completely refusing to pay. Should or can go to the Labor Commission. Uh-oh. Veronica. Yeah, I would. I would, unless you're in the healthcare industry. Let me go to that video and tell me your resources for who to go to on that exclusion pay. So hang on one second while I look up who to report that to. Here's the thing, right? Your employer is not legally allowed to retaliate against you. But with that said, some employers can get really nasty and make the workplace really uncomfortable for you. Of course, if they did that, that would kind of be harassment. But just, kind of try and get your employer to like understand that they do need to pay you that exclusion pay and try and work it out peacefully. I do want to say on the employer side, because I made the TikTok about exclusion pay, and someone from an HR team was like, hey, please be kind to us. We're going through a lot right now, too. Everybody, even corporations, is experiencing this in some kind of way that's really impacting all of us, our mental health. I think, I see it from both ends, from an employee and an employer standpoint. And it's tough. Many of these HR representatives are not only in charge of keeping track of what's going on in California, but different counties and different cities within California. Some of the cities have added extra sick pay. Some of the counties have, but not all of them. Different states require different amounts of pay, and it's a lot to keep track of. So if your employer has locations nationwide, the HR people are probably ready to tear their hair out. And then the poor nurses that don't qualify for anything, who've been doing, keeping our families safe through all this. It's a lot for everybody right now. Okay, so here's who you could potentially report it to if you decide that you want to pursue these avenues. So it's going to be, and also look up the exclusion pay video. I include the links of who to report it to. You can report violations to the health department if like your employer is allowing sick people to work. If they say they won't pay you sick pay, you're going to go to, you're going to look up a wage claim, how to file a wage claim, and that's on dir.ca.gov, and you'll file a wage claim. You can also report it to Hold on. You can file a workplace safety report if they're making you go in when you're sick. You can also report it to OSHA if they're not giving you the exclusion pay. So you would go to file a report with OSHA. Let me think, who else can you? And the Department of Labor here in California. But yeah, you can report it to people and you can call around to attorneys and see if they will take your case, because another thing with the exclusion pay is that your employer is supposed to actually pay that to you the same pay period it was owed. I do also need to make it clear with exclusion pay. You either would need to have contracted it in the workplace, but it is the employer's responsibility, the burden of proof that you didn't catch it in the workplace, that's on the employer, right? That is not on you. So if the employer is like, how can you prove that you got it in the workplace? Really, really politely just say, you know what, from what I read, that would be your responsibility to prove that I didn't catch it in the workplace. This is the only place that I'm going every day. So I don't know where else I could have contracted it. But if you were just off for like 3 days and you visited your uncle and you hadn't even been at work, then they wouldn't need to pay it to you necessarily. Um, but yeah, and if they're just sending you a letter, and they should be sending you a letter if you came into close contact, which is more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour time period where you're less than 6 feet apart with someone else, then and they ask you to stay home just because of exposure, then yes, they should be paying you exclusion pay. So if you get one of those notices, it's pretty clear cut. It gets a little bit muddier if you are the person who thinks you contracted it from the workplace, but it is still the burden of proof is on your employer. So reach out to some local labor attorneys and see if they would represent you. Okay. And where am I? Yeah, she can't really do that. The problem is it's a lot for everybody to keep up with. I really like to think that people don't know about the exclusion pay. And it's so funny because I had to dig really hard to find it myself. And now that I know what I'm looking for, I found articles on it. But even if you type in to Google, which you guys know I like to do with you right here while we're live together, if you type in like, when did exclusion pay end? Not a lot of articles pop up about that. Like, some will say that it expired a while ago, some will still list January 14th, but you guys know that I just read that email from that law firm. It has been extended till April 14th of 2022. Hello, Nick. James says, do a live stream with Jenny again. You would love to see it occur. You can rewatch the one that we did together last week, last Wednesday, if you missed it. Because yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we streamed for like 2 hours and we answered a lot of really good questions. Ben says, no news is good news on PUA until you get news that's bad. Yes, hopefully no one gets bad news. Alex says, any word from self-employed musicians proving work? You mostly got paid in cash from different bands. Yes. Mel's friend actually was kind of in that. Actually, I feel like Mel's friend was like a hairdresser and they like went on tour with somebody, but like on tour, right? Musicians. So Alex, what you're going to want to do is watch my how to fill out an affidavit video. Fill that out. Do you have emails from bands you were going to play with, band members from the time period that they're asking for, that say, hey, I'm so sorry, Alex, I don't need you to come to that show anymore. It just got canceled. Do you have any flyers that you were on with those dates? And then, is there any proof that anything extra that you can prove, any correspondence from band members, from venues, things like that. Even text messages, if you can, where they would display the date between you and band members, screenshot those. So send in the affidavit and then any other backup documentation that you have regarding that could help the case. Prince Ali says, PUA nightmare. You know, a few people that are constantly worried about this and it's really affecting them. They don't have 15K to pay back to the EDD. Hi, I Love Podcast. I hope you're still in here. Oh, thank you for saying you like the new sign. I haven't seen you in a while, but it's great to see you in here. Prince Ali, here's the thing, right? And I know that I stress checking and uploading the documents and that kind of thing. And this is something I'm not perfect at this, right? I just mentioned that I spilled on my shirt today and had to like turn it backwards at work. So I'm not perfect in this way either, right? We're all working on these things. That's one of the things that I work on continuously as well, is trying not to worry about one, things that we don't have control over. What's done is done now, right? They got the money, they spent it, they don't have it. So you can't go back in time and change that. So there's no use worrying about what's already done because it's done. That's the past, right? Then the other thing that I also try not to worry about is what's going to happen in the future. We can't worry about we can't, people can and people do. We shouldn't worry about things that haven't happened yet. So if your friend has turned in their documents and they haven't found out about it yet, it's not doing them any good to worry about it. What they can do is, take a step back from it. Here's worst case scenario, right? That it's going to take a long time before they get to the paying it back portion. First, first they need to upload the documents. I do encourage don't dilly-dally on that because that's going to get your wheels spinning. So get those documents and start that process. Then, even if the EDD sends you an overpayment, a notice of potential overpayment, or you see those payments switch to disqualified, from there, if you don't agree with them, you're going to appeal that decision. Now, if your friend knows that they were dishonest and that they really didn't deserve the money, they wouldn't necessarily need to appeal. They could go ahead and you could go ahead right from that step if you're not going to appeal and ask for an overpayment waiver. Just say, or you could say, well, if you were dishonest, you would need to create a payment plan, right? You need to say, you know what? I don't think I should have received that money. Let's get a payment plan going. Even though potentially the EDD could they can take your tax refunds and they could potentially garnish future wages from jobs that you may hold in the future. But get a payment plan going. Can they afford $10 a week? Can they afford $20 a week? Can they afford $10 a month? Can they afford $20 a month? Get the process going of paying it back if they do owe it. But if it's really like an honest mistake, or they think the EDD is wrong, first of all, if you do see those payments switch to disqualified, or you receive a notice that the documents you sent in were not acceptable, but you know that they are, first you're going to call the EDD. I hate to say it, I know. You're going to ask for a tier 2 rep. And then if that tier 2 rep doesn't help you, try again one more day. If the second tier 2 rep doesn't help you, then you file the appeal. Then you you send any extra documents you have, or you resend the documents that you originally sent and say, hey, I don't know why these weren't accepted because it's on the list of acceptable documents. And I believe this proves my eligibility. Then if the extra documents or that statement and the same documents prove that you were eligible, then they don't even make you have the appeal. But if they still say, nope, these documents aren't accepted, then you have the appeal. And even if they find out that you weren't eligible, at that point, you request an overpayment waiver and see if they'll grant you that. Now, to be granted the overpayment waiver, the overpayment needs to have been created through no fault of your own, and it needs to create a financial hardship on you to pay it back. And the threshold that they use to define what would create a financial hardship is pretty low. But there's payment plans available. So it's not necessary, even if you owe them $15,000, it's not necessarily like they're going to immediately force you to go into credit card debt to pay all that back, So try and make a payment plan, even if you owe and they don't grant the overpayment waiver. I feel like I spent a long time on that, but I really care about that. I don't want people to worry about things that are no longer in their control. All right. Okay. Yasmin, I don't have proof of work search. Are they ever going to ask for it? Oh, Yasmin, that's something I hadn't even thought about for a while. You're talking about proof of work search, where they asked you to list your job search every week, or they gave you the option to say, I will keep track in another method. Yes, the EDD could eventually ask to see that. And you guys have got a notebook right here. That is something I said that it was okay to do handwritten. So yes, if you didn't tell them where you looked for work each week right there online, then yes, you needed to keep track in a different way. My notebook's blank. That's so rare. I wrote FML right there. You guys know what that stands for. So yeah, you were supposed to be keeping track of it in some method, your work search attempts, once they reinstated the work search requirement. And they could come back and ask for it. I don't have anything wood. Oh, this is wood. Knock on wood that they don't ask for it, but yes, they could. But let's hope that they don't. Okay, Ben says, PUA, even if it's giving many people a headache, you're grateful that it existed. It helped so many people during the time when everything was closed. It saved many people from financial ruin. It really did. And a lot of people, Ben, I'm not sure if you've been in any of the lives where I've kind of said, people are frustrated that the EDD is asking for it now. And I get that. But look how they're just now asking for it now. Would you rather have had this flipped back in March of 2020 or May when it first became April 28th when it was first eligible for PUA people to apply? But back in 2020, now almost 2 full years ago, would you have rather them said, "Oh, wait, we have to go and really in detail check and see if you're eligible." Um, and then not get paid for 2 years? I don't think anybody would choose that. And I understand the frustration with these stories that you hear about people who are incarcerated that received benefits that shouldn't have been eligible. That certainly isn't right. But I think what the state of California tried to do is they tried to say, you know what? For the most part, we think that the people who live here in California are good and honest and have good intentions and aren't going to abuse it. And those people's need is greater than the amount of distrust in the small number. And I know when I say small number, I know that it was a lot of claims, but it was a small number of dishonest claims in proportion to the people who genuinely needed the money. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that they looked at Californians and said, you know what, we believe that the people that are applying for this are honest. And so we're going to go ahead and give it to them now and worry about retroactively finding out, going back and getting the proof. And I know that now that we're doing it, it's frustrating, but I really think that you wouldn't have wanted to, I wouldn't have been able to wait 2 years to get the money. Can you imagine? And yeah, with this proof of employment, it's not like a yes, I looked for work, no, I didn't. It's not a box that you check. It's like really individualized to everybody's situation. They're sorting through canceled bands, show flyers, and the affidavits and all of that. Now, would we maybe have had these documents a little bit more ready if they would have asked at the beginning? Perhaps, but hopefully those claims, hopefully you guys have something that you can submit that will qualify. All right. I'm long-winded tonight. Okay. Oh, thank you, Linda. You pushed the like button. And if you're cool or uncool, you know, we cater to all kinds on this channel, regardless of how cool you are. I would love it if you smash that like button. Thank you, Linda. Ernie, hi, Ernie, thank you. And Ernie, my heart goes out to you. I hope you're doing okay. I know you suffered a very deep loss, and I'm impressed with the grace that you've handled your loss with. And it looks like your family's been there for you, so I'm glad that you have a big family that's been able to be there for you. Okay. Net Sinet says, is there any way that we can access the 1099-G online? They should be online now. So I actually made a video on that because they're kind of buried. So just search Shelley's Millions 1099. That should pop right up. But I believe it's under the payments history when you log onto your UI online account. So that's where it's going to be. It's a little bit hidden. Uh-oh, I lost my place. I'm going to scroll up. Hi, Spell Legacy like death. Naughty, naughty. Hi, Debbie. Is my new website, is it Googling Shelley's Millions? I haven't tried to Google it, but so guys, I have a website. Jenny Silver helped me get it set up, and I have a new email. It's Shelly at Shelley'sMillions.com. So if you just type in Shelley's, no apostrophe, right? If I could go back in time, I would name the channel something different so that it didn't have that apostrophe in there. It's been a little hard to brand it consistently, but it's Shelly at Shelley'sMillions.com, and the website is just Shelley'sMillions.com. I don't know if it takes things a little while to show up in Google. Okay. Trevor, hi. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. I appreciate you reminding people to like the video. Hiking is fun. I do like hiking. I really like rowing. That is good exercise. I don't love that either. I've done a little bit of that at CrossFit. I do like hiking. I am very afraid of snakes. So I need like a lookout. Like if I'm ever even on a date, they got to walk first because they have to look out for snakes. Except for like sometimes I'm dumb. Once I was on a hike and someone was like, Shelly, you might want to turn around. And I was like, why? And then I looked and then I was like, oh, I understand now. And then like I panicked and like froze and then ran. And I was like, but the snake's going back in the bushes. Is it going back the way? Or anyway, whatever. It's a whole thing. I'm afraid of snakes. So I like hiking in the winter time. I also like doing waterfall hikes. There is one in Monrovia that I love. Okay, rambling. That happens sometimes on Mondays. Cheryl says, do I know if the IRS will waive or negotiate the taxes on the extra $300 on an individual basis if you call? No, they won't really waive it. They're not going to forgive it. But if it turns out that you owe, which a lot of people aren't necessarily going to owe, it really depends on a lot of different factors. If it does turn out that you owe on taxes, one, I hope it's not very much. But two, if you owe, create a payment plan. It's the end of January. It's the very last day of January today. I don't think the payments on our taxes are due until April 15th. You can get an extension on paying the taxes. And tax, like at the 10% rate for every $300, that would be $30. So hopefully it doesn't add up to be that much, because remember, we're all going to have, some of us might itemize, but there's going to be deductions that you can take. You're either going to take the standard deduction or you're going to itemize depending on your own situation. And please remember that I'm not a tax professional. I just like money and I'm real curious about taxes and I like saving money. People were real down on the former president for the amount he paid on taxes. Like, that's not him. I don't want to pay taxes either. That's part of the neon sign. Did I need that? No, but it's a business expense. Shelley's Millions isn't my legal name. It's my business name. It makes a cool background. I am only using it in this room that I record YouTube videos in. So, the former president, he took full advantage of all of the tax breaks. That is what all of us want. We don't want to pay that much in taxes. It's difficult. Anyway, take the tax advantages. That's what they're there for. But it's possible that the standard deduction, if you're single like myself, might bring you down to a threshold where you wouldn't owe. So, and if you do, you could ask for an extension, but I think they charge interest on that. So if you have any way to pay it by April 15th, and that's what I would do. If you have personally, so I'm going to owe a lot this year. My situation is very different probably from most of my viewers because I had self-employment. I did have some unemployment. I have the regular W-2 job. I had referral bonuses from Claimer. I had money was, everywhere. I'm very fortunate, but I'm going to owe a lot in taxes. That will not be most of your situations, but even for me, I'll be able to take the standard deduction, which will lower some of what I owe. All right. Alex says, your strongest document is a letter from a venue owner verifying I played there 10 times over the year. Also, a few emails of gig cancellations and plans canceled due to this illness. Also, a tour spreadsheet. Include all those things. I wouldn't necessarily include like everything. Just like at least one example of each of those is going to be good. Maybe a couple of the emails if they're from the right dates, or if the shows are for the dates that they asked for. Maybe a couple examples of those. And then I would also fill out, if it's not exactly the affidavit, I would still fill out a statement pinpointing exactly what you're submitting to the EDD. So I would say, hello, I have been asked to provide proof of self-employment to prove my eligibility for a PUA unemployment claim. As proof that I was self-employed and working during the time period that you asked for, which is I would restate it, even though they should know. I would just assume that they're idiots, and I would say it again. I would say the time period that you asked for, which is, and then you'll say whatever your time period is. I am enclosing emails from shows that were scheduled that have been canceled on page 2 and 3. On page 4, I am including a venue that I worked for the prior year, whereas you can see I played 10 shows, as well as my my tour spreadsheet that covers these dates on page 5. I lost track of what page we're on. As you can see, I was legitimately working as a self-employed musician, and hopefully these documents are enough to prove the eligibility of my PUA unemployment claim. So I would include a statement with what you're submitting. I would say, hey, this will be on page 2, this will be on page 3, and if you can, like, label those documents, and I would restate the time frame, and I would kind of sign it, even though you're just uploading it. That's how I would do it. And again, try not to handwrite that either. Even if you're just doing like notes in your notes document, if you can type it up, that's going to be better than something handwritten. Okay. Marcia says, hi from Chula Vista. Hello. Hello, Debbie. Yeah. So the website, okay, well, I'll type that in too. It should just be Shelly's Millions. I showed some of my coworkers today. I need to work on it a little bit, and I don't know how. I also don't know when I have time, but I need to make the time. That is Jenny Silver. She wouldn't say, "Oh, I wish I had the time." She would be like, "This needs fixed." And guess what? She wouldn't move on to the next task until she had figured that out. The thing is, I have put off too many tasks at this point in time. Guys, I wrote my resume the other day. Maybe it's for a video. Maybe it's because I'm looking. But that was on my to-do list, and I finally got it off of my to-do list and got it done. Nick says, totally agree. We're all going through something or another. We are, even like, and I know like people are like, oh, the corporation, it's the man. But like a lot of these companies are small businesses. Even if they're not small businesses, even if it's like the largest employer in the world, I don't know who that is. Let's call it Apple or Tesla or Amazon or Google. I don't know. Some really huge employer. They're still hiring Nick or Shelly or Jillian or Debbie, and we're just like the little guy. We are not the corporations we work for. We're just the person like answering the phone, trying to make it through the day like everybody else. I think that's why you're seeing so much stuff about people quitting their jobs and the great resignation. Because, like, this has put a lot of pressure on everyone. Everyone. Also, the unsung heroes, gas station attendants, fast food workers, the door dashers that work through it all. I mean, of course, like our nurses and our doctors that work through it are very important, on the front lines. But like, man, the gas station worker had to go in every day too. That's probably not a very high paid position, like, and those people went to work every day, opened those doors so that the healthcare workers, I'm going to cry, I'm not going to cry, that had to go in every day were able to do that, and like, so thank you to all of those people, truly. Jillian says, I received a letter saying my documents were approved, and then another letter a week later saying I never sent the documents in and got disqualified. Jillian, do me a favor and check the dates on those letters. Is the one saying that you're disqualified, is it possible that it crossed in the mail? Also, so in your case, you're going to need to call the EDD, and fingers crossed for you that once you call, they're able to sort it out. Now, if the approval letter is dated on the letter or on the envelope after the disqualification letter, if the approval letter came after the disqualification letter, you might be okay, even though they arrived at your house at different times. The other thing is, I wouldn't worry as much if your payments haven't actually switched to disqualified. If your payments still say paid, it should be okay, but please call to be on the safe side. And then as long as the payments still say paid, or a rep can switch them to paid while you're on the phone, tier 2 rep would be needed to switch it from disqualified back to paid. I wouldn't worry. But and sometimes you get a not so helpful even tier 2 rep the first time. So if your first time you don't get a helpful tier 2 rep, call again, see if the second time is a charm. If it is, and your payments still say paid, or they're able to switch them to paid, I would tend not to send in the appeal. If when you call, they do tell you there's a problem or they're not able to fix it after the second call with the tier 2 rep, then make sure to send in the appeal within the designated time frame. Marcia says it's bad right now and still no help. That's messed up. It is, and it's frustrating because we're going to get through this. Okay, and I'm at 9:25 in the comments. I don't know where tonight got away. So I'm going to try and speed through these. I'm going to skip some of the advice and some of the thank yous. I appreciate all of you, but I want to try and do the questions since I've been long-winded tonight. So Myra says, your documents were accepted when you were about to start a business. All you had were text messages from potential clients that canceled right when the pandemic happened. You wrote a cover letter. You had no business license or anything, just proof of clients canceling on the dates they asked for. Yeah, so a lot of people that are in cash businesses like babysitters or dog walkers or maybe housekeepers, maybe lawn care. Maybe people are like, I'm home, I can trim my own roses. If you have text messages of clients canceling that you can screenshot with those dates and you send in a short little statement about what you're including and why, that should work. And thank you, Mara, for letting us know that. Veronica says, what should I do if my employer is still refusing to pay my exclusion pay because she said it took too long for me to get my results? That is exactly what the exclusion pay is for. That makes me crazy. That is not your fault. You got exposed in the workplace and your employer is mad that it took too long to get the results? Nope. That does not fly with me. That is not okay. And it's not accurate. It doesn't matter how long it took to get the results. If they asked you not to come in and the exposure took place in work, the exposure or the positive case would need to have originated from work, they need to pay you. And again, I'm not an attorney, but I dropped that attorney's name in there, so maybe they'd like to hear it from the attorney. I bet they wouldn't. And please be nice to your employers, though, because yes, everybody's going through it. But it frustrates me when right? Like I see it from the employer side, and don't be sassy to your employer. That's not going to win you any favors. But like if you're just coming to them and presenting facts and articles and information in a respectful manner, and they're not being kind to you in return, if they're not looking into it in return, honestly for you, that frustrates me. Even if they have to keep their poker face on, right? Because sometimes my employees are probably watching this being like, Shelly, you're full of it. Sometimes employers have to keep up their poker face. I'm a manager, but I am not at the top of my company. But believe I'm going to take it to the top of the company and I'm going to try and find those answers. But for them to flat out tell you that you don't qualify, it's not correct. Unless you're in the healthcare or unless you caught it somewhere else. So maybe reach out to an attorney, see what they say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about all of this. So frustrating. Edie says, why do some people need to send proof and some don't? Some people already sent proof when they, some people on PUA claims were asked to provide income verification. Claims after a certain date had to do that automatically. Other claims had to do it only if they wanted a higher weekly benefit amount. So in theory, the people that requested a higher weekly benefit amount and were granted the higher weekly benefit amount already submitted their documents and therefore didn't need to send them in again. So that could be why. There could be a lot of different reasons. But that's my suspicion. April says, you got a letter from them today, uploaded your pay stub last week. They said, I don't qualify. They are mad. The EDD is mad? They shouldn't be. I would call. Oh, no. My okay. Well, I'll be talking to my business coach. I used my website earlier today and it was fine. Shelley's Millions. SHELLYS Millions. MILLIONS.com. There's my little website. Look how cute I am. I'm not really that cute. That's the magic and professionalism of Jenny Silver's photography. Also, if you can access the website, I have a free template for how to approach your employer about the exclusion pay. So you're going to click, you have to put in your name and email. So you have to put in your name and email, but it's totally free. And it's an example of the letter that you would send to the thing. Okay. Okay. I will look. Hi, was Jenny in here? Jenny, they're saying my website's not working, but it worked. You saw when I pulled it up. I don't know. Also, when you look at it on desktop, the word Shelley's Millions is hanging off a little bit on that first image, but Jenny Silver is done with this project for a little while. I did make it home safely, but people are already asking when we're going to collaborate again. Okay. We were at April's. So the EDD shouldn't be mad. And if they said that your pay stubs didn't qualify, which they really should, if you weren't making enough to qualify for a traditional claim, or if you were on a traditional claim and they temporarily put you on PUA, pay stubs should qualify. So that's definitely a situation where you would want to call the EDD representatives. Mel, they didn't work in 2019, so should they submit something from 2020? Yes, because you said through March of 2020. And Mel, I know you know how to get in touch with me. Instagram's still for you, Mel, probably going to be the best way to get a hold of me. because now I've got a lot of emails, right? I had started a different one before Jenny got me all set up with my email on my website. Um, and then I've got like my full name because like all the combinations of my name were taken for my resume. Like I've got a bunch of different emails now that I check. So sometimes Instagram is still the best way to get a hold of me. Jenny, I promise I will get organized in 2022. So we've got like 11 months left for me to get organized. And I'm still like obsessed with wearing like a matching outfit to the thumbnail. But of course, the thumbnail is a professionally taken photo from Jenny and where my makeup's done by her former moderator, Kat. So that's why I look so amazing in the thumbnail pictures lately. Okay. Yeah. So something, if they have it from between January of 2020 and March of 2020, would be what they would want to send in. Molly says, from your case, keep calling, takes you 43 calls to get resolved. Yes, that it does often take that long, which is why it's still frustrating, which is why like we still have the claimer link. If you haven't used claimer already, the link in the pinned comment or in the description down below will save you $5 off your first call. Claimer now calls the IRS. They call about SDI claims, state disability insurance claims. They call the franchise tax board about golden state stimulus payments. They call the EDD. They don't call all those places for the one price, but like whatever you need in terms of government financial assistance, Claimer's pretty much handling it now. So check them out if you haven't already. Otherwise, you call 43 times. That is the free way, or use the help of your assembly member. I do have that pinned as the top comment, and they're linked in the description down below as well. Okay, PUA says, wait, I don't think PUA, unless you are Mel's friend, then I'm not sure what's going on with you guys. Taxes, kids, and house things to say hi. Glad I made it home safely. Wins Mama Millions photo shoot. My mom has never had a photo shoot, and my mom's like allergic to makeup because she's allergic to everything. My mom seems very interested in starting a channel, and she actually had the cutest name for a channel. It would be like Mama's 2 cents. So like you guys know that I'm trying to be a millionaire, but my mom's still broke. So I think that little play on words would be so adorable for her if she did start a channel. And she's like, but I don't know how. And I was like, Mom, there's YouTube tutorials. That is how I learned. And my mom knows how to use YouTube now because she watches my videos. So watch a YouTube tutorial, Mom. You can figure it out. I believe in you. Even if you can't figure it out, just the trying, it's good stimulation for your brain. Love you, Mom. Love you, Mama's 2 cents. It's a good name. Okay. Skating outside. I am seeing all the cute, you guys know I'm obsessed a little bit with TikTok. I've been seeing just the cutest girls on TikTok, like out there roller skating. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to fall on my big behind. But in my mind, it's like how do they word it on TikTok? My flaw, my fatal flaw or something like that. Or my illness is thinking I can do that, or I'd look like that doing that. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Armin, you wrote a statement explaining the situation and providing employer contact information. That sounds good. Okay. Jose says you joined the live. You wanted to know what documents to submit on EDD that they're requesting. You don't want to. Okay. So first of all, if you don't have a link to upload documents, then you don't need to upload anything to the EDD. This is mostly for PUA and employment claims. They're accepting a lot of different things based on your situation. Of course, now I'm not on that page anymore. Okay, so it depends. I've got that linked in the description down below, the list of full documents. It depends on whether, so it depends on whether you were already self-employed, whether you were planning to start a business, whether you were planning on starting a traditional job. that you planned to begin employment. So there's like a whole long list, and I do have that linked in the description down below, but it really depends on what your exact situation was. And then if you're talking about owing on taxes, your 1099-G is available online, and everyone's tax situation is so individualized. Just fill it out and see if you owe. A lot of people are actually saying that they're still getting refunds. Okay, Mel says all the Starbucks in San Pedro and Harbor City have been closed and closing early. Yeah, because people are having trouble finding workers. Uh-oh, I lost my place. Okay, you're here and the website's working. And Junior, you are welcome. You guys, even though the EDD has kind of revised the documents that they're accepting, I am having a lot of people have success using kind of the format in the affidavit video that I published. So please search Shelley's Millions affidavit. That should give you at least a starting place to go from. Now something that Jenny says, which is true, the affidavit's kind of like the least desirable document that the EDD wants. So if you can send in anything else as backup documentation, and by anything else, I mean receipts. If you had started to purchase something if you purchased a neon sign, even for your business, if it said that you were going to make Junior's chocolate, right? You could submit that invoice of that purchase as a business purchase. It would need to have the dates that they're looking for on there. If you have text messages from clients that canceled on you, they said, hey, I'm working from home now and I have plenty of time to trim my roses myself. I don't need lawn maintenance anymore. I am not comfortable having you come into my home anymore to do childcare. And plus, I'm home myself with my child. I don't need your services anymore. So, even text messages, if you can screenshot those and they have the dates on there along with the affidavit, that's going to help prove your validity. So, a lot of times, the affidavit, especially if you can find any backup documentation, is very helpful. Okay, I'm skipping around. Big Chomo says, do you really think 1 million people are going to send documents this month? Probably not. Probably not. You know what that means? That means that when these people get the overpayment notices in the mail, look, it's making me even have like crazy eyes. Jenny, we're never going to stop making these unemployment videos ever. No, we are. Jenny is switching to business. I've begun talking small business. I've begun talking about NFTs, and I've got a lot of thumbnails with a really cute piggy bank. I hope do your kids know? Also, the money gun was such fun. I think I took a picture of the box. I took a lot of pictures, but not a lot of vlogs. I would have been smart. So Jenny bought a money gun. And of course, I don't see that here. Oh, yes, I do. Look at this, guys. It's the super money gun. On all my photos of my really disorganized phone that's not flipping sideways now. And as soon as look at the super money gun, super gun. And look how much fun this guy's having. And I think Jenny and I had that much fun as well, except for when she would like open it and it would scare me. But those did make good thumbnails, I think. Okay, where are we? Okay. So Carmen says, do I choose standardized deduction or itemized deduction if I was on unemployment benefits? So again, I'm not a tax advisor. So you're going to want to ask your tax advisor about that. Most people, if they're single, and again, this is my opinion, it is not tax advice, it's not financial advice. If you don't have dependents, if you don't have children or like an elderly dependent, if you don't own a home, and even me, I own my home. It's until I became self-employed, right, in 2020, 2021 with the channel, it still worked out better for me to choose the standard deduction. So basically, itemized deductions, right? Uber drivers are people that need to kind of look into this as well. They have to look at like, do I want to now I might be saying that wrong. So let me not talk about Uber drivers. But basically, like if the taxes that you paid on a home plus any donations that you made to charity that you have the receipts for, plus all these like little weird deductions. If you have a lot of these little weird deductions that add up basically more or less to more than $12,000, then you're better off itemizing. And I am generalizing and I am not a tax professional. But if you have itemizations that total more than the standard deduction, then you'd want to itemize. If you don't have all honestly, like the interest and the taxes on a house are a big thing. So a lot of people who are not homeowners don't benefit by itemizing generally. It's a very general state. Everybody's situation is so different, but that's a very general statement. And I believe the standard deduction this year it's either $12,000 or it's really close to $12,000. Most of us do not have more than $12,000 in itemized deductions. So for most, especially single people with no kids and who do not own a home, generally it's better to choose the standard deduction. However, if you think you're close, you don't have to submit your taxes at the end. You can run your taxes both ways and see which number is best for you before you actually go through submitting them. So if you get to the very last page and you're like, oh, I did something wrong, that doesn't sound right, you can go back and try, like you can hit back, or cancel or start over, whatever the button is. You basically just don't hit submit. Try running your taxes with any itemized deductions you think you would qualify and see if the numbers work out better that way. I hope that made sense. But again, I'm not a tax professional. Okay. Yeah. So big chomo, probably not. And then people are going to get an overpayment notice. And then that's when they're going to all of a sudden remember about good old Shelly and good old Jenny who helped them at the beginning of everything. And Junior, you're very welcome. You got approved with the affidavit. That's amazing. Debbie, was that a ploy to get other people to like, can you come on my chats and every week and be like, Shelly, your website doesn't work? And then I'll be like, what? And then I'll log on to shellysmillions.com and I'll be like, yes, it does. And then I'll show everybody my beautiful website. And even though it's my website, Jenny Silver totally created that for me. So it's honestly like, has my name on it, but Jenny Silver, she's like basically like a wizard as far as I'm concerned. And she magicked me up a magical, wonderful, beautiful website. And she magicked up my face with her wizard. Well, with her lens, she magicked up my face and her friend with makeup. Wizarded up. Wizarded. I'm getting tired. Okay. A few more actual questions and then I got to go eat dinner. Teddy Gelato. I wish I had gelato. See? Okay. When you upload docs as separate attachments, they show up as continuous pages before submitting. I'm not sure about that. Okay. Debbie says the third EDD director in 2 years just quit, overwhelmed. No, I don't want to do that. It just sounds like no fun. Like, So I'm a nice boss, but I also really you're a wizard, Jenny. You wizard up to my face, and the money gun was super fun. I think my mom would have liked that. Maybe I'll get one from. First of all, I need to totally get one for myself, and then second of all, I need to shoot my mom with a money gun, or you, if you ever take photos for her channel. Need to definitely shoot her with that money gun. Are your kids having fun with that? Okay. Anyway, work questions. Not work these questions. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Focus. Here we go. So Teddy, your question kind of cut off halfway through. I'm not sure if you're just sharing that they show up as continuous pages or if you have a question. Tarek says, you just got your 1099-G and no PUA showing, but EDD sent the letter to them for proof. So your 1099-G, that's your document that you use. The EDD, that's the proof that the EDD sends you that you received benefits that you use to do your taxes. The proof of PUA, proof of employment, that's something separate. That's a piece of information that they're asking you to send them to prove your eligibility for unemployment benefits. So you do need to upload something from that list of acceptable documents, and I have that linked in the video description down below. Okay. Bianca, how do I cancel the appeal since PUA has ended and they aren't paying anything? I don't think there's a way to cancel the appeal. Oops, you were approved, but all my dates still say disqualified. This was because of a prior appeal that I'm still waiting on. I'm not sure that you can cancel the appeal once it's started. You could call a rep and ask about that. If Jenny's listening, she might know. You could ask an assembly member to help. But yeah, once that process has started, I'm not sure that there's a way to stop it. Okay, so Armand, proof of planned self-employment, I'm going to imagine is what you're talking about. So documentation that you planned to begin self-employment include a business license, state or federal employer identification numbers, written business plans. That's probably going to be what most of you have. And so you could do that. Or if you had begun the process of leasing a building, like for a hair salon or something like that, if you have documents that show you had leased an office or a space to work out of, that would also count. Now, since you said documents about plans of starting employment, I'll read that too. So that would be a letter offering employment. But if it's a letter offering you employment, it has to be written by the employer. It has to show the employer's name and contact information. It has to have a scheduled or a proposed start date. It has to have position information. It has to show the location to which the claimant was scheduled to report on the first day of work, statement or affidavits verifying an offer of employment. These must have the employer's name and contact information. Note the following examples cannot be used to prove your employment: an offer to consider your application or an invitation to file an application, a hypothetical question such as, if a position becomes available, would you consider working for us? An offer that that depends on a contingency, such as, if we get the contract, you're hired. An offer made by an employee who does not have the power to hire, such as a supervisor, fellow coworker, or fellow worker, or an outside consultant. So a business plan, unless you have an offer letter with all that contact information. Bianca, yeah, please still show up for your appeal hearing. You could just take 2 minutes and say, I'm sorry, Judge, thank you for your time. It's been brought to my attention that I no longer need to have this appeal. But since I don't know of a way to retract the appeal, when your date comes around, I would pop in. I think they're still doing them over video. And as long as they are still doing them over video, I would just kind of pop in and just say, thank you for your time, but I no longer need to have this hearing. I'm all settled. And perhaps maybe an assembly member could help stop the appeal process. I am not sure. Yeah, Carmen. Yeah. So Free Tax USA, even once you get to the very last page, should still give you the ability to go back and make changes. So you can run numbers both ways before finally submitting. I tend to think I don't know. I don't want to advise anybody on taxes. So I'm not a tax professional. Run the numbers both ways. If you get confused, maybe there's like a chat box that comes up that you could ask somebody that works for Free Tax USA. Bianca is thanking both you and I, Jenny. Would written receipts work? Perhaps. Let me see. Hold on. Ooh, Jenny likes when I scoot off camera. Also, guys, I'm getting shocked on everything. I need to Google how to not get shocked on my electronics. Hold on. My lights are going to go all crazy here for a second. No, I don't have it. So my mom she sells things at the swap meet, right? You guys have heard me say this before. And for a little while, she I don't know if you guys can even hear me. Hold on, let me roll back over here. Okay, so we've got the light in there. Hot lights on set. Anyway, and now all of a sudden my lighting's better. I should have put the hot light over there the whole time. Anyway, so my mom had to give us a receipt, but my mom has like these things and they're like kind of like how waitresses in 50s diners, do waitresses still do this? Do they have like little handwritten things where they handwrite your receipts? A handwritten receipt could potentially work. That's honestly what my mom would have if she does have the kind, it has these I used to love this when I was a kid. Do you guys remember where it has like the carbon copy and there's like a black piece that you put in between the two pieces of paper? And so the top half was our copy that she gave to the theater for the flashlights that we bought through her business, which is Jenny's Sales. Maybe my mom needs to get back into sales and just call her channel Jenny's Sales. Jenny's Sales 2 cents. I don't know. Anyway, but she's Jenny, not to be confused with Jenny. And I have trouble enunciating the difference. I've decided I'm going to try harder though. Jen. I don't know. Anyway, so my mom has handwritten receipts. That is what she uses. It really is. And she has a legitimate business. But again, my mom also has her reseller's license. She does file taxes. She has, maybe it's a wholesaler's license. I don't know. My mom has some licenses that she would be able to send in as well, even for her swap meet business. But she uses written receipts to people that need them. Roger, what if you don't have any taxes as a self-employed worker? You don't have any proof to send them because the company you worked for shut down. In that case, you're going to need to send them an affidavit. And that's going to be it's sending the affidavit, even though it's not the preferred document, it's better than sending nothing. In my opinion, you need to at least try. Follow the steps in the video that I outlined. Junior said it worked for him. And see, do you have any emails that the company was shutting down? Like, hi, Roger, I'm so sorry. We were hoping that we'd be open back now, but unfortunately, we're going to need to permanently close. Aaron, everybody's date is a little bit different. Man, I wish this lighting in this video was like this the whole time because this is fire. I wish I could have. Look at that. That's so much better than at the beginning. Hello. Can we do this every time? Anyway, everybody's date's a little bit different. This is a sign I need to quit talking and go eat when I get loopy and I get off track. Do you have an email saying that they permanently shut down? Try and include that. Nope, we did that one. Aaron, it's a little bit different for everybody. Okay, 2 more questions and then I got to go. I am Darkstar said, did my taxes. Thank God. I went back to work for Amazon. I only owed $5 from being on unemployment. Not too bad. You worked out pretty well. Okay. Armand. Oh, yeah. If you have an email that says you've been hired, send them that. Make a copy of that and send them that. Okay. Manuel says, I just had my interview with the EDD after 3 months. If eligible, will I get paid for all those past certifications? You should, yes. If they discover that you're eligible, they are supposed to award you those payments. And fingers crossed that you, like, wishing you the best luck, not like fingers crosses and I'm not, you guys know. I'm just wishing you the best of luck that you get those payments paid. Armand, I would include that. I am going late and now I'm babbling now. Yeah, Armand, send both of those, please. Okay. And ooh, okay. Yes, something is better than nothing. Make an effort. Yes. Hi, Scotty. I am about to get out of here though. Debbie says, expect more EDD problems with the chaos over there. SDI stop payments this week, some new issues next week. Um, Also, can you just screenshot the emails? Yeah, potentially try and make sure that they have the date. I think that would be okay. If do you have the ability to I'm not here's where my age shows and that I'm not that technologically savvy unless you're a future employer, and then I totally am technologically savvy. Savvy with technology? Anyway. Um yeah, screenshot would be okay. Make sure you get the date in there, then that'll save to your phone. Also, Roger, what if the affidavit isn't enough? Would they make me pay it back? They could. Um, but first they would send you a notice of potential overpayment. And then you could try and call and get that sorted out. You could try and submit additional documents when you send in the appeal, which then might actually allow you to totally avoid the appeal process. Then you'd have your appeal hearing. Then if they decide that you're not eligible for benefits, they would send you an official overpayment notice, not just a potential of overpayment. From there, you could try to request an overpayment waiver and see if it's granted. If it's not granted, you could arrange a payment plan with them. So try not to get too far ahead of yourself. Try not to worry. Send what you have and what you can. But try and be thorough. Try and really think if you have anything else that you can submit, and then go from there. Alexander, what if you didn't receive an email that you have to show work search? So are we back to work search, or are we on PUA proof of employment? So Jenny, I've had a couple of questions tonight asking about the work search requirements. You remember where you have to list the 3 places you looked for work, or the 1 place, depending on where it was. The EDD did give you the option so if you weren't asked to upload PUA proof of work, then don't worry about that. And if you were asked, so they did say that if you didn't list the places that you looked for work online each week, that at some point they could ask, you could have kept it in a notebook. They do want to know, or there was always the potential that they could come back and ask to see the places that you applied each week. So hopefully you can find that, or maybe there's a record on Indeed, or maybe in your sent emails or something. So if you're just talking about actual work searches, are you talking about during your claim? Because anyway, I think this is a good time to end. I know I'm right in kind of the middle of something, but now I'm not sure if you're talking about during your claim or prior to the start of your claim. Now they're kind of saying that if you were just looking for work, if you had just started to look for work, and you weren't planning on being self-employed, just the fact that you were starting to look for actual work may not be enough. But if you can remember where you applied, any details, any emails that you have where you'd actually started to apply, I would try and send those in. Sending something in is going to be better than sending nothing in. Yes. Okay, so Roger, yes, when you write your affidavit, yes, you're going to say, so follow the steps in the video, and it's a little bit of a different example, but I think you're going to be able to customize it to your situation. Any backup document, here's how I would word that. That's going to be in the statement of the facts. You're going to say, on page 2, I am also enclosing a copy of, or I'm also uploading on page 2, or on the next page, I'm also uploading a copy of a screenshot of the letter from the company I was supposed to start with, informing me that they were never going to reopen again due to the pandemic. So yeah, I would include a statement about that. Yes, and Armand, perfect. That's exactly what I would advise. So hopefully you will be good. All right, everybody. This seems like a good place to end tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for watching Shelly's Millions. I'll see you next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Have a good night. Bye.